Welcome to the Game Professors Podcast, where the students have taken over and we profess our love and hate for all things video games. This week, in an ironic twist, a hacker attempts to take GTA 6 hostage and force Take-Two to change. The Gears of War E-Day beta was a big success, but the movement is out of control, according to its original creator. Best Buy takes computer diagnostics back to the Civil War as it decides the best remedy for a customer's computer problem is amputation. Randy Pitchford has been dethroned as we talk about performance of some of the new titles that have been released. And gamers ask Star Citizen to blink twice if it's in trouble. But first, let's get into some quick announcements in the lecture lowdown. Kingdom Hearts 4 release and other things at the D23 2026 convention type thing. And apparently the game's going to be launching on PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC, Epic Games Store, Microsoft Store, everything you can imagine in 2027. It's going to have brand new in-game world inspired by Disney and Pixar's Coco. And Sora's classic companions, Donald Duck, Goofy, Mickey Mouse, are returning for the adventure. Hades from Hercules was also shown in some of the footage. To get ahead of fan skepticism, series creator Tetsuya Nomura and co-director Taya Sue firmly insisted the game will not be delayed past that target date in late of 2027, with Yusei explicitly stating development is going very smooth, emphasizing that hitting that deadline is 100% a thing and not just an 80 or 90% chance. Alongside that announcement, Square Enix and Disney revealed an original Kingdom Hearts anime series is currently in active development as well, and will come out on Disney Channel and Disney Plus.
I'm excited for the anime.
I'm glad that somebody else looked at all the cool anime tie-ins that have been happening for games. Pretty successful tie-ins across the board for the most part.
Yeah.
And Disney said, you know what? We can do that too. Okay, great. Go for it.
Yeah.
All the more content for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly excited for the game, mostly because Kingdom Hearts 3 was kind of meh. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe I'll pick it up.
Could be a return to form too. You know, maybe it's back to the good old days. Either way, though, there's a while for that, so keep an eye on the horizon, but it does look like it is coming. Also today, some leaks for the Steam frame, and that's basically because a bunch of the videos were pulled directly from official ARM Steam client updates. The sign-in screen displays a QR code on the headset to set against a post-apocalyptic backdrop representing Half-Life Alyx. And because the media originated directly from official Valve software, build before being quickly pulled, it's pretty much considered legitimate. And I mean, I've watched quite a few of them, including an unboxing, and they all look pretty high quality and have that Steam feel. So if it's not real, it's the best fake I've ever seen for Steam hardware. But the timeline does line up. In that unboxing, you saw USB-C cables, a wireless PC adapter, the magnetic eye relief spacer for glasses, which is good for those that need them. Separate video detailed an optional ergonomic accessories kit, which features a top head strap for weight distribution and Velcro hand straps for controller grip security. To prevent setup interruptions from a dead battery, the headset ships with an energy-saving state and strictly requires a connection to an external power source for its initial boot up. The core headset is supposedly going to be very light at 185 grams, and current memory pricing issues, people are expecting it to cost between $900 and $1,200, with the launch being very soon, obviously. I'm looking forward to it. I sold my old Index in anticipation for this, so it sounds like it's going to be stupidly expensive, which is horribly annoying, and hopefully I have that little bit extra cash to make it happen, but I look forward to playing some VR games again. Outside of that, Fallout New Vegas 15th Anniversary Edition bundle has officially come out after launching for pre-orders on October 23rd, 2025. And the only reason I'm talking about it now is just how funny it is that no matter what Bethesda does, they can't seem to avoid bugs or broken content. So, background, the bundle retails for $155 through official channels, but you could recently pick it up for $118, $19-ish on Amazon. It has an 8-inch PVC statue of the friendly Securitron that's in the game. There's some Dr. Mitchell's evaluation cards, 7x7 card stock, apparel pins with Vault Boy enamel pins and some other things. And obviously the game, well, not obviously nowadays, it does come with a digital code for Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, because that's never a guarantee anymore, but it does have it. So it apparently, the face, if anyone remembers the Securitron, so it's like an old school security bot with a CRT TV to kind of fit the Fallout universe motif. That image that's on that display right in the middle of the robot, upside down, apparently, on a lot of the editions people are getting. So it has a little face on it that's clearly upside down. Of all the things that could be wrong with a collector's edition, I don't think the face of the statue of the character that you're portraying being upside down would be one of them that's easily missed.
You know? Yeah. I don't know, man.
Is that just a typical Bethesda thing?
A little bit. But at the same time, like, it's not even Bethesda themselves who are actually manufacturing it.
No, it's not.
So, like, that's really just Bethesda not QAing. Well, actually, no, this makes perfect sense. Bethesda doesn't QA in the first place. So, yeah, they're not going to QA a friggin' manufacturer either. It makes sense.
All it would take would be like, send us some photos of the statue of the completed production run. Great, looks great. Or they did and they still didn't catch it.
No, man.
To be fair, it is not all of them. It's not all of them, to be fair. So there's lots of stuff that could be in between.
It's probably all of them from one factory.
True. Or a batch or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I did find that funny because Bethesda will never escape that kind of image that they have. But that's all we got for the intro. Let's get into the juicy, juicy leaks in civics and sociology. All right, we're taking a look at some aspects around the gaming community. Specifically, there have been some major GTA 6 leaks, which is funny because we've had almost nothing up until, 8 days before the first official, full gameplay dive that's behind a Netflix paywall, which we'll get into. I'm sure Netflix isn't happy, but starting yesterday and continuing until today, which is why Heru and I are actually recording this a little late because I had to update so much. But an entity calling itself Cyberleek with 2 E's for leak released a new wave of gameplay clips and map images for Grand Theft Auto 6 across multiple social media platforms. However, I think most of them were just propagated from other people seeing them. Now, to be fair here, it does seem like these are pretty legitimate of a build that is kind of at most 20 months old. It could be newer than that. So if you don't want to know things about like the map or potential gameplay stuff, then I would just kind of skip to the next segment. However, I don't really have any story spoilers in here, so you don't have to worry about any of those. So that being said, apparently the new setting, Leonida, was leaked, revealing roughly a map twice the size of the GTA 5 one. The leaked map features 5 distinct counties: Kelly, Lummox, Leonard, Vicedale, and Mariana. The clip showed co-protagonist Jason Duval shooting basketballs, apparently trying to raise a new focus stat, and other sequence features, and another sequence featured a driving section that escalated into a roadside fight. All things you would expect for the most part in a GTA game. The leaks did continue into the next day, with inventory and health stuff as players supposedly, again, a little bit of an older build, so things could have changed, but during this build that was captured, 8 weapon slots and 2 healing slots, items like EpiPens and Zombix pills, which restore health but lose effectiveness if they're overused. Separate wheels for items and weapons. Some combat world details with footage showing expanded knife combat and animations, visible injuries on Jason after knife attacks, police tracking vehicles via GPS, minimap also only appearing when driving or wanted by the police, bus stop icons hinting at a potential fast travel system, and confirmed features including greet and taunting NPC interactions and the ability to provoke homeless NPCs, and incredibly detailed audio like unique squishy sounds when wearing wet shoes. However, it should be noted that quite a few of these things, like greeting and taunting, were things that you could also find in Red Dead Redemption 2. So it does seem like potentially GTA just had a lot of game mechanics added in from Red Dead 2. Nothing quite brand new yet. There was a clip that showed some nighttime gameplay with slow motion kills, again similar to Red Dead, a stun gun, a new vehicle theft option like clone key or smash window, so you might be able to more stealthily take vehicles rather than just robbing somebody on the street and potentially getting a star. So at some point too, between all of this, the Cyberleek leaker put out like an edict or a manifesto, if you want to call it, where they framed the leaks as a deliberate protest against modern anti-consumer practices in the gaming industry, utilizing the phrase "fight for gamers' rights." They targeted Rockstar specifically due to GTA's digital pre-orders and tiered editions that we've talked about previously. Cyberleek published a manifesto demanding 3 key changes from publishers, the first being an end to digital pre-orders. They argued that because digital copies cannot sell out, pre-orders offer no benefit to consumers and should be halted until independent reviews are available. Cancellation of fake DLC, where they demanded publishers stop charging extra to unlock single-player content that already exists within the purchased base game files. And then lastly, preserve single player experiences. So any game featuring single player content must receive a final offline patch if its servers are ever shut down, ensuring the game remains playable. Basically talking about a bunch of consumer right type things. So this all definitely seems like a Robin Hood type character, per se, minus the spoiling some small things for people. And apparently a lot of it is, from context, legit, as Rockstar Games and Take-Two had a very rapid and aggressive DMCA copyright strike takedown on any and all videos that they could find from these leaks, including a lot of screenshots on stuff on various social medias, issuing these takedowns so aggressively that even AI-generated parody images were being caught in the crossfire. At some point, the official Cyberleek website was also taken offline, returning to a connection reset error. The volume and speed of these legal actions does kind of point to and indicate that while it being an early or an older build, probably legit footage, or at least something close enough that it causes them concern.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could care less about digital pre-orders, to be honest. But like, yeah, I agree with the stop fake DLC thing and preserving single player games. But
sure.
I mean, at the exact same time, like, there's only one way that that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's not gonna happen because, I mean, I remember famously from not the Call of Duty 4 that's coming out now, but between Call of Duty 4 in 2007 and Modern Warfare 2 in 2009, they went from dedicated servers to pure client gaming, and there was a whole boycott the game type thing, especially whole groups on Steam at the time. And a day after the game was released, someone went and grabbed screenshots from that group on Steam, and 97% of all the people that were in the boycott Modern Warfare 2 group were playing Modern Warfare 2 on day 1.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably not going to happen.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, the only real way that this will ever happen is if a government forces it to happen. That's the only way it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, and
good luck.
Yeah, good luck getting them involved, and if they get involved, they're probably going to take it too far anyways. So
yeah, probably.
Outside of that, a few more details. Cyberleek officially confirmed via Telegram that they are connected to Rorion Kujar, the infamous key member of the Lapless Money cybercrime gang who was responsible for the massive 90-minute clip GTA 6 leak back in 2022. And we've talked about how this is definitely a build that's closer now than any other previous leaks, because it did include a lot of music, and if you want to see what music was leaked to be in the game, you can go check that out. But specifically, there was the song Sports Car by Tate McRae playing on the in-game radio, which that song was released in January of 2025. So, the game is at minimum from January 2025. That puts the minimum age for how old it could be, which is pretty decent as far as major leaks go for a game that's been in development since 2013.
Right.
So, according to Insider Gaming, legitimate preview events for GTA 6 are currently actively taking place, even with these leaks. And Cyberleek warned that if their demands are not met with a public apology and concrete commitments, they will continue the leaks and have threatened to target Sony next, which is interesting enough. Now, I did mention this seems like a Robin Hood character. However, it should point out that everybody has an angle, and as is most of the angle most of the time, money. Money being the thing that drives most people. Cyberleek's manifesto vehemently insists that the operation is not a cash grabs, and they are actively raising funds for a secret project. However, the Cyberleek name is directly tied to a Solana-based crypto meme coin, and preservation groups like Stop Killing Games have publicly condemned Cyberleek as hackers and are urging people not to send them money, stating they are just using the leak to pump a speculative crypto asset. And it doesn't help that they then today, right before we started recording, put up a paid poll claiming, again, not a cash grab. And so they set up a poll on their website that was forcing people to donate cryptocurrency so that they can vote on what clip was released next. A day-night car scene, a night motorcycle scene, or a day plane scene. So it does seem like there's potentially more videos, but also money. One of the donations was like $80. So they paid the cost of the base Rockstar game to vote on a poll to see a clip from a build that's potentially 20 months old.
I'm curious how many people actually voted.
I don't know what the number is. Anyone, if you want to go look it up, or anyone wants to go check once they hear this podcast. But yeah, so as much as we all like to think they're fighting for the little man, it for the most part seems like a hacker group that's having some fun at the expense of Take-Two. Probably legitimately angry at Take-Two. That's fine, but getting a bunch of money in the meantime.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's actually any numbers out there for how many people have actually paid for it.
Yep. Interestingly enough, Cyberleek was getting pretty bold at one point as they were pinging Rockstar Games directly on Discord with custom nursery rhymes. Twinkle, twinkle, little leaks, showing off what no one seeks, Vice City glowing in the night, GTA fans chasing every sight. So... supposedly the leaked map also reveals that Vice City Airport is gigantic, and it seems like Rockstar's trying to make the scale of the airplanes a little bit more closer to real life, which is cool because airplanes have always been larger than life, so
true.
A little bit more immersion to go there. And last but not least, and here is a a one-line spoiler that does not give away any story. Well, it's barely any story. So skip the next 60 seconds if you don't want to hear it. But I did find it fun that one of the leaked cutscenes, a character stated, "They know nothing about me. I use a VPN," which definitely seems connected to the whole leaks.
Oh, man. That's good. That's good.
Oh, man. Anyways, big old controversy with those leaks over the last few days, and it does seem a bit ironic that a game about crime is embroiled in some crime drama in the form of leaked information.
Yep.
And potential blackmail, I guess, is kind of what's going on here.
Sure.
All right. Any comments further about that?
Nah.
All right. Let's move on to lab work. Alrighty, Gears of War E-Day had its beta recently, which wrapped up on August 17th, acting as a technical test ahead of the game's official launch in October on the 6th. The beta showcased a refined 4v4 versus PvP mode and introduced a Horde Siege mode, a new 12-player PvE mode built for larger maps and bigger battles. Parts of the community speculated that the developers heavily pushed this massive PvE mode specifically to give more casual players an alternative to the hyper-competitive wall bouncing found in the Versus mode, which we do have comments from its original creator on that we'll get into. The beta saw a massive turnout, reaching 1.2 million players on Xbox. On PC, it hit an all-time peak of 22,000, which is one-fourth of the all-time peak of Marathon, so doing some pretty massive numbers there. The beta's success directly impacted sales, roughly doubling the Steam pre-orders at the current time, which, I mean, if your pre-order sales shoot up after a beta, chances are you have something pretty decent happening. So any old Gears fans, which one of them would be me, it looks like you may have something to look forward to in October. And any potential new fans, it looks like there's something to return to. Did you ever play the Horde mode?
No.
Well, I mean, it's basically one of a handful of games that started that type of mode, right?
Right.
Like, it's like, just like Kleenex for facial tissues is kind of the standard name. For the most part, I know when people talk about a mode of waves of computer-controlled enemies where you kind of have to defend or move through them, it's always usually referred to as a Horde mode.
Yeah.
and that did specifically the Horde mode name came from Gears, so it's been a pretty popular type of thing over the years for the game. I'm all for trying something new. Sure. I could see a massive 12-person PvE mode being interesting, because I know assuming that one person doesn't cause a catastrophic failure, because there's no way 12 people, all of them are going to be competent. So given that caveat, I do like something a little new, because I think the smaller group tactic Horde modes have become a quite stale at the moment. So I don't know what this entails. Like, do two different groups have to go off and do two different things on each side of the map, during a wave, and then come back together for a massive wave after that? Like, there's interesting things that you could do with this.
I find it hilarious that you say there's no way that 12 players can be completely competent when I do excessively hard bosses in 20 mans.
And how much practice do you do?
Practice?
And coordination and debriefs afterwards, talking about what people need to improve on. I think my point stands for itself.
Nah.
Yeah, get out of here. Look, I'm not saying a group of people coming together and improving over time can't happen, but if you want me to clarify, there's no way a group of 12 people coming together randomly,
there you go,
are all going to be competent.
Yeah. That's
so fair. That being said, a lot of people were enthusiastic about the new mode, so it does look like it brings something new to the table. However, PC players reported significant movement constraints, noting that sprint tuning is heavily restricted and suffers from input delay. Some other grievances included aiming sensitivity bugs. For example, exiting ADS would sometimes fail to revert the camera to a much faster hipfire sensitivity speed, which does need to be fixed and cannot come out when the game releases, because that's pretty broken for someone who has this problem trying to be in the versus mode at least.
Oh, yeah.
There was also some sporadic freezes and crashes, but again, more of a beta technical test type of thing, so understandable. Just fix it before the game comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Players using quality mode on the Series S, which is the lower-end Xbox, experienced noticeable stuttering during extended playstations, requiring the full game restart as well. So, overall successful, needs some improvement, looks like it's doing some fun things. Let's get into the comments from Cliff Bleszinski, which was, he's not at Epic Games anymore. He was the original creator of Gears of War. And by the way, the Coalition is the one that now makes the games for Microsoft, so it's not Epic anymore either, to be fair here. Mm-hmm. But Cliff Bleszinski, originally at Epic when they were making the Gears of War series, was kind of the lead person and everything, the mouthpiece. He was always the one in front of the cameras talking about the game back in the day. He stated that the series' famous wall bouncing mechanic, which if you haven't seen it, it's where if you're close enough to a wall, you can click a button that kind of sucks you into the wall so that you go into cover. And you can abuse this where you time it right, where like a reload cancel in an FPS, you can start the mechanic where it sucks you into the wall, quickly cancel it, look at a different piece of wall, click the button again. So essentially you just kind of like shift really fast from wall to wall to wall to wall, and sometimes not even touching the walls. So you're kind of just like shifting back and forth in open space, which really helps you dodge bullets for sure.
Yeah.
However, it is somewhat difficult to do, and is definitely not something new players are going to be able to do. So it tends to be a mechanic that if you know it, you can mess with a lot of people and overpower a lot of people. So specifically, Cliff Bleszinski talked about how the wall bouncing mechanic was never meant to become the dominant way to play multiplayer. He compared the unintended consequence to one of his older games, Jazz Jackrabbit, accidentally helping turn some fans into furries, noting it wasn't the intended nor desired effect, yet here we are. Which, putting Gears of War and furries into the same discussion is not something that I think I would have ever pictured happening.
Oh, man.
He argued that mastering wall bouncing makes a player unstoppable, which is exactly his words, which ultimately breaks the game for anyone else trying to play it in any other way. Here's the thing. I definitely agree that any player who doesn't know how to deal with this or anticipate it is going to be destroyed. So my question to you, Heru, is how do you balance something like this? Giving experienced players, giving dedicated veterans a mechanic to learn, to make them better, to be at a higher tier, while also not breaking the game for new people trying to get into it.
I mean, this is the Rocket League problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is literally the Rocket League problem.
Sure,
Anyone
absolutely.
who has infinite time will eventually master every single trick that every pro ever does, right? And that's exactly the problem. It's a learning. It's a learning curve, and at the end of the day, the only thing that you can really do is try to make that mechanic easier to trigger, or just remove it entirely, right? That's really your only options, because you don't want to. If you don't want to remove it, then you need to just make it intended and make it work for your game, right?
True.
There are plenty of mechanics like this in like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, so on and so forth, where things were very unintended, and then they just made them easier so that the average person could do it. One thing that I can easily think of is there's a move in League of Legends called an insec, and it's because it was popularized by the pro player insec, where you would either ward hop or flash behind an opponent as Lee Sin and then kick them towards your team, right? That was that was the move that was very popularized, and the window to be able to trigger that was incredibly small when he originally popularized it. So what they did was they simply made that window bigger.
I think that's a fair way to do it, because I don't agree with taking it out. I think
obviously
something that makes your game unique and giving people who play your game a lot something to practice and work on and get correct is something you want in your game, right? It also allows for the cool highlights because it's something to aspire to do. I think that is the better way to do it, is potentially a little bit of a nerf. I'm not a fan of nerfing things into the ground because I do think people should be able to excel at something. So maybe a little bit of a nerf so it's not broken, and then on the same token, make it something that's easier for new players to get into. Maybe not to the same level of proficiency, but at least give them the basis to start working on that mechanic so that they can eventually get it down. I think that is going to be the best way to do it.
I mean, I honestly think this is one of the main reasons that League of Legends is so incredibly popular. Because there are, like, every single character that's not intended for, like, entry-level players has an absolute amazing amount of, like, little tiny tech that you can master. And, like, I can literally name multiple off the top of my fucking head. Obviously, because I've played the game for fucking 15 years, but still. Right?
Actually, you know what? Just because anytime you talk about League of Legends, I always think of the shooter version in popularity, Counter-Strike, being my game of choice back in the day. They actually just added in there, so there's Premier mode, which is like the top of the line ranked type mode, and then there's regular competitive, which is basically the standard rule set, and so just one step lower. And in competitive, they added a tutorial option that you can turn on or off, and it only exists for the first 3 rounds on each side, where on the map it shows a little circle for you to stand in and a little circle in the air for you to line up a smoke or a flash.
Yep.
And so literally within the game, it gives you a couple rounds every time you play to practice some entry-level basic utility usage. So I do think that's a great way to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you could even introduce like some kind of tutorial to teach someone how to do that, right? I still think you should probably make it easier, because one of the biggest things is you're always going to be fighting against latency, right?
True.
So if you're fighting against latency, then you need to make it more latency independent, meaning that it doesn't matter really how high your latency is, as long as it's within a playable range, it should be doable. But yeah, I can think of hundreds of these types of techniques that are available in League of Legends, that it's just like little tiny things that they show the mastery of a character or a game or whatever. Right.
I like it. Make it either provide a tutorial so people can learn how to do it, or make it a little easier so people can do it, or maybe a little bit of both. And if it's truly broken, you can always nerf it a little bit. Again, I don't like the idea of nerfing it into the ground or removing it, but there is a fine line between something being utterly broken and something being a learned mechanic.
I think you could easily introduce some kind of like internal cooldown for how often you can like suck into a wall.
Yeah, like maybe a little bar or a meter or something. Yeah.
Right. Even if it's just like even if it just like doesn't happen, right? But yeah, like a bar or a meter or something to,
or maybe
to
just
visualize
after
it.
like 4 or 5, it just fully sucks you into the next wall or something.
Yeah, exactly. You could do even like 3. You do it 3 times, and then like you just the ability is just removed, right? For
it's not a bad
brief
idea, because
period.
then you have to plan ahead and go,
Correct.
is this really the time I'm going to do it? So it adds a little bit more tactical aspect to it.
Correct, yeah.
Which is even more of a meta veteran thing that you would have to learn gameplay style.
Yeah.
So
right.
I do like, and before anyone mentions it, I have been playing Gears since the first Gears. I understand that wall bouncing to any sort of degree has been in the game basically since the start, with it really coming into fruition kind of in Gears 2. So no one at me going, this has been around for forever. I'm bringing this up because specifically Cliff Bleszinski, the creator, was talking about how it was never intended to be in the game. So
yeah,
that's why I'm bringing it up.
Look, for games to continue to become modernized, to grow the fan base, so on and so forth, they need to be updated. They need to innovate. They need to find ways to open it to more players. Not necessarily every player, but more players, right? League of Legends had this exact same issue. I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but League of Legends originally started as a paid game, right? It was a paid barrier to entry type game. You bought a box copy, downloaded it, played it, right? That's how it started. Then it went free, right? But it went free with extremely excessive microtransactions that were very pay to win. Okay, I'm dead serious. They were incredibly pay to win. Now all of that shit's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And now all of the money that they make is from cosmetics,
which is what we say all the time. Is where
yes,
you should, if you're gonna be money grubbing, do it in the cosmetic area, not the gameplay area.
And at the end of the day, right? Yes, you can fault League for the way that it started. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's still the biggest esport game in the world. So it clearly did something right. And at the end of the day, can you just call it a means to an end? Because you could.
Oh, and learning curve, fixing things. I mean, at one point in Rainbow Six Siege's early years, it was utterly broken and had a lot of problems. And here we are now. Now, Ubisoft is its own thing, but the point is that any game can get better or improve and even get worse at some point. So
absolutely.
If you continue to get better, continue to improve, and continue to give people what they want, you will have a successful game. I mean, for League of Legends, World of Warcraft, almost for forever. So, like, just,
pretty much,
don't do bad things.
I mean, I'll just throw a couple of examples for both, right? World of Warcraft, one of the number one things was that DPS needed to actually manage their mana, right, over the course of a fight. That's not a fucking thing anymore. Now, the only DPS class that has that kind of a mana management system is Arcane Mage, and it's a builder-spender, right? You build your mana, you spend it. You build it again, you spend it, right? That's its whole design. But now, mana management is solely on healers, and even then, sometimes that's going away. And on top of that, there was ammunition for hunters. It doesn't exist anymore, right? It absolutely doesn't exist anymore. It was dropped after, I want to say it was Wrath of the Lich King or Cataclysm, one of the two. League of Legends, right? Support characters, they usually built a bunch of gold per 5 items, right? So X amount of gold per 5 seconds. And the reason why they did this was so that they could just buy a bunch of wards. But outside of that, they were completely useless. So it was basically always tank characters who were played in support. There wasn't really an enchanter meta at all. So you would only play the tank characters who were just naturally base tanky, and their skills led them to being able to survive against characters who had significantly more gold, significantly more items, that were just significantly more powerful, but their base skills were so powerful that it didn't matter, right? They did away with that.
So the point is, give people an option to explore your game, get better abilities, improve your tactics. As a game developer, make sure things aren't broken, rework things so that they exist in a game and even if it's in a slightly different state, so that people have the ability to learn, master them.
Yeah.
And for me personally, no sawed-off shotgun. I just don't want the sawed-off shotgun back in Gears. That thing was awful.
I mean, the answer to any online, game as a service, right, is always going to be, what are your players doing? Does the majority of players like that they are doing that thing?
Yep.
And if they do, make it easier. If they don't, get rid of it. That's the answer to every single live service video game.
And don't be a dick.
Yeah, but there are only so many Randy Pitchfords in the world, you know.
Speaking of Randy, no, I'm kidding. He's later, but we do have some interesting hardware, unkind people to get into in business and econ. Alrighty, Best Buy. It's a big tech store here in the United States, where you can buy all kinds of things, including computers and computer parts. So, a Reddit user sent in their Lenovo Legion 5 gaming laptop with an Intel i9, RTX 5070, and 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM to Best Buy's Geek Squad for a warranty repair because of blue screen issues. So, standard type of thing that's happening here. The user said that it functioned perfectly fine for 8 months, which is what I assume they told Geek Squad. And Geek Squad resolved the issue by removing one of the 32 gig RAM sticks and claiming the unit only supported a maximum of 32 gigs.
I don't believe it for a second.
First of all, I want to know what Intel i9 system only supports 32 gigs. That is insane. Is that even a thing? Are there any i9 compatible boards that legitimately only support 32 gigs?
I highly doubt it.
I mean, if they are, they have to be some Frankenstein configuration. Like, it's not going to be a standard Lenovo Legion 5. I just don't believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, on top of this, the laptop was sent back to the customer with half the memory it was purchased with, with an accompanying note that said, "Unit passed all tests."
Unit passed all tests. That's huge.
You could have bad lanes. You could have some issues with the socket or the processor itself. You could have, obviously, with the stick. You could with the actual RAM slot itself, dirt, whatever. There could be all kinds of reasons that could cause one stick or one stick forcing the system to blue screen while the other stick works perfectly fine and it boots up. There's plenty of things. Hell, even an update where the memory training was an issue and it failed could potentially cause the system to not boot with 2 sticks of RAM. There's all kinds of things. Now, some alleged the laptop was purchased through a third-party seller on Best Buy's marketplace, which, certain third-party sellers customize and have other hardware configurations. However, Best Buy does not automatically service third-party sellers. So if it legitimately went to Geek Squad, it's one of two things. Either A, Best Buy took it in error, which is still their fault, and B, the customer actually paid for the service, which again, still lies at the feet of Best Buy. And at the end of the day, they didn't return one of the sticks of RAM. They just kept it. So the user has no recourse to take that to another shop, to test that stick of RAM, go straight to the manufacturer, none of it. So I don't know what Best Buy is doing here, but it's not good customer service, I'll tell you that.
And just before anybody jumps up and is like, oh, the configuration only comes with 32 gigabytes. It doesn't matter, okay? The i9-14900HX, which is what was in this Lenovo laptop, supports up to 192 gigabytes.
There you go.
So,
and
yeah.
I was going to say, and the listing is still active on Best Buy's website with 64 gigs. So,
is it? Oh, I was looking at Lenovo
but the
directly.
point is, you went and checked the hardware, which means Best Buy is wrong because it does support 64 gig configuration, and Best Buy's website still has it. So if it doesn't, which again it does, you still sell it that way. So
Yep. So either you're selling a broken product, or someone at your Geek Squad repairs stole 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yep.
And that's where I think this actually happened.
So the reason he's saying that, for anyone that doesn't know, as of right now, RAM prices are about 500% over the last year. So a lot of these sticks of RAM, even SODIMMs, which are cheaper than regular sticks of RAM, are vastly higher than what they used to be. So a single 32 gig stick, especially because you have to now match it specifically, and even then it may not function correctly unless you get a pair, is a lot of money. So, Best Buy, either somebody took it because it saves them money, or B, Best Buy should fix it and replace it, but it would cost Best Buy a buttload of money. So this was their solution. And not returning the RAM stick gives them zero recourse other than to, pursue lost and damaged claims. So it's brutal.
It's shit. It's real shit, to be really honest with you. And we're talking a $3,000 laptop here, minimum.
Yep.
Right? It may have been purchased for less than that, 8 months ago.
Well, with the 5070, it could have been like a $2,500, $2,000 laptop at the time. But now it'll be at least in that mid to high 2,000 range.
Yeah. I mean, on Best Buy itself, all these are like $3,000. But
are they not right now?
Yeah. But like eight months ago, I could see them have been 25, even closer to 2,000.
Yep.
That wouldn't surprise me in the
one
slightest.
of the things they're doing.
Yeah, that's complete BS, and in my opinion, that's just outright theft. Call the police.
Well, if you're going to go that route, Best Buy isn't the only offender from this week. SK Hynix, a customer reached out to SK Hynix, which is a memory manufacturer, as they needed a warranty replacement on a malfunctioning consumer SSD. SK Hynix informed the owner that no replacement units were available, and instead of providing an equivalent replacement, they defaulted to a fine print warranty clause and offered a refund of the original price, which is like $250. So it's like $500 less than what it would cost to buy the replacement on top of the $250. So they're not the only ones being left out to dry. And I just put these two stories here. There's stories from Micron. There's stories from others. This is happening all over the place. So before you say Best Buy is an outlier, they're all doing it. I'm not justifying Best Buy. I'm just saying you need to be mad at everybody.
Oh yeah. Sure. Right. I'm totally fine with that. I will absolutely be mad at everybody. But the difference between being mad at people who are, not people, but companies who are pointing to fine print of their TOS or whatever, that's one thing. But there is no way that anywhere in the fine print of Best Buy's repair is we can just take 32 gigabytes of RAM from you.
Yeah, we just get to keep it.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, there is no way in hell that would ever stand up in court.
There are stories of manufacturers who get RMAs and then just hold on to the hardware. Those do exist, though, too. It's brutal. Know. I see them every week, but I can't talk about them every week because it would just become boring. And ridiculous. It's just this happened to be 2 unique stories this week, so I was like, fine, we haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, right, it would just devolve into me saying, call the police.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? Because at the end of the day, it is theft. You are stealing something.
I mean, there's stories of like specifically Louis Rossman, who's a tech repair advocate, who is suing Samsung because the company offered a refund for a defective SSD instead of a replacement, while still selling that exact model on Amazon. And here's the thing that kills me, okay? Supply and demand is the reason that all of these cost more.
Yeah.
There isn't enough supply. The demand is out of this flippin' world, okay? What hasn't happened is the cost to manufacture these devices haven't gone up.
Correct.
So obviously the Best Buy thing is awful. That's stealing. I'm not going to defend that in any way or form. Just the thing that pisses me off the most out of most of these articles that I see is they're only losing out on potential money. They're not actually losing money because it's the same manufacturer cost, and they've honored these warranties for forever. They're now just not doing it because they go, oh, well, if I do this warranty for this customer, I'm losing out on the manufacturing cost, which is the same. Whereas if I sell it, I could make $500, $1,000.
Yeah.
And that definitely just makes me upset because it's just you aren't losing out on anything that you wouldn't have lost out a year ago.
Yep.
You just are not making the potential money you could by screwing over a customer.
Yeah, the only thing you're losing out on is potential profit. But that's like, you have to give warranties. And the second that you stop giving replacements for warranties is the second that you lose people.
And know it's about money when like Micron's like, we'll just give you back the cost of the original stick, because they know that even if they fork over that $250, they can make more money by selling a new drive because it's only like 37% of the cost.
Yep. Yeah, when my PC died relatively recently, and I couldn't determine whether or not it was the CPU or the board, I ultimately just returned both of them to Micro Center. And one of the things that the person at the desk said was that if you do want to try and get the same exact models, you should ask for it at cost. And you should specifically demand it at cost.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That would take care of it.
The girl
Let me
behind
buy
the
it at
desk,
cost.
Yeah, the girl directly behind the counter actually told me, "Be a Karen if you have to." But ultimately, I just upgraded, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna freak out about it, but yeah.
It's honestly good advice. So
it is.
Thank you for sharing that for anyone that might need to utilize it out there, because there's enough of these stories where there are going to be plenty of people that need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to just put these companies on blast.
So if you need to go be a Karen, just remember, walk in and say, "I'm here at Heru's advice. Give me at cost."
They're going to be like, "Who the fuck is that?"
And then you can tell them about our podcast.
Yep, please do. Any news is good news.
All right. Anyways, we're going to shift from hardware woes to software woes as we go into shop class. Alrighty. As we mentioned earlier, Randy Pitchford has been dethroned, as we take a look at a couple new titles that are dethroning the terrible performance matrix, specifically Mafia: The Old Country, Man of Honor DLC, and Hell Let Loose Vietnam, which I was really looking forward to Hell Let Loose Vietnam, and it looks like a lot of fun. They recently had like an open play test. Let's get into it, specifically starting with Mafia. The Man of Honor expansion launched on August 14th and expands the 2025 base game by adding 2 new story chapters, focusing on a couple new characters. It's running on Unreal Engine 5. The game places an extreme load on modern graphic processing units, GPUs. At native 4K on maximum setting, absolutely 0 GPUs can hit 60 FPS.
That's amazing.
Which is why it dethrones Borderlands. Because there's literally nothing that can play it at 60 frames. The flagship RTX 5090 maxed out at 59 frames. It got close, but just couldn't quite hit that target.
With frame gen.
The 4090 reached 44 frames. The RX 7900 XTX hit 34 frames. And to do a playable minimum of 25 frames at 4K, which is debatable, users would need at least an RTX 5070 Ti, which is now, what, a $1,500 card?
Yeah.
Or an RX 9070 XT, which is a more affordable card, but still ridiculous. Even at 1080p, maintaining a solid 60 frames would require an RTX 4070 Ti or an RX 9070. 1080p.
Oh man,
That's insane.
Is this
1080p? You need a 4070 Ti to hit 60 frames?
Is this with like frame gen and stuff, or?
I missed that. I don't think this was using frame gen. I think this was frame gen less. But it still is insane.
Unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, a lot of these devs are still building games around 1080p, and that's just not what we play on anymore.
Keep in mind, older generations of cards don't have access to the latest version of frame gen either.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, no frame gen required, forcing them to use upscaling. So, no. I mean, this still blows my mind though, that like you can't even on a $5,000 card hit 60 frames.
That's nuts.
Oh man. And obviously it didn't stop at that one game. On August 13th, Hell Let Loose Vietnam was available to play, also on Unreal Engine 5. Large-scale jungle warfare, which is already going to make it difficult. It's using DirectX 12 with some pretty dense environments. So to achieve a smooth 60 FPS at 1080p, it is debatably better, with players needing an RTX 5060 Ti or a Radeon RX 7800 XT for 60 frames on 1080p.
Oh man, who are they making these games for?
I don't know, dude. To get 60 frames on 1440p, it automatically jumps up to a 4070 Ti Super and an RX 9070 XT.
I can do it.
It's great. You can play at you can play your multiplayer game at 60 frames a second on 1440p, barely. Yay. Yeah, because you know what people don't like to use DLSS in is multiplayer games. That's where people definitely don't like to use it.
100%.
Now, a little different than Mafia, you can hit 60 frames at maximum settings with a 5090. But
great.
That is it.
Oh, sick.
So you only need to drop 5K to be able to play at 4K 60 FPS.
Man, when are people gonna learn? Like, they need to start making these games like League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Rocket League, Counter-Strike, where all of them hit like 144 FPS on like a 30 series card.
You know what? 60, look, I'm a 120, 144 guy all day long, okay? Mm-hmm. But you know what I can stomach? I can stomach 60 FPS stable 60 FPS, mind you. on any sort of single player or non-competitive co-op any day of the week. Totally fine. I'm okay with it. And if that's the game you're making, like it's a Tomb Raider game or whatever, cool. Give me the knockout visuals. That's what I'm here for anyways. Do not give me a multiplayer game in which I am limited to 60 FPS. Especially on the latest generations of cards. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know if this is a leftover development pipeline where like they were expecting new cards to be out pretty soon, or even super versions, because we haven't had any super versions either this generation, and it's just not happening. So they haven't actually spent any of their time optimizing. So they said, screw it, just get them out. I really hope that with the restrictions on hardware, the non-new releases, that this stops happening as often. This whole thing, ridiculous performance, stops happening as often as it's occurring. It just drives me nuts. So,
oh yeah, I very thoroughly agree.
Now, to be fair, people did enjoy Hell Let Loose. It's got some interesting asymmetrical warfare. So, if you're not going to try to play it on the highest settings, you'll probably be somewhat okay. Just keep in mind that you're not going to want to play it at 4K, and you're going to want to keep your expectations realistic. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Oh, man. Alrighty. I just wanted to point that out. It's making me sad, but there were two of them back to back, so I figured we'd bring this up one more time, and I'm sure it'll come back up again in the future.
Yep.
However, we're going to get into our last segment in gaming history. All right. Time to fill that brain hole with some history, and we're talking about a 14-year-old game, specifically Star Citizen, which was originally announced in 2012, hence 14-year-old game. Heru, any comments about that 14-year-old game? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's plenty of 14-year-old games. Hell, I play a 21-year-old game. For
Look, I'd like to point out that there is going to be a new GTA before a full release of Star Citizen. I would like to point this out.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, Star Citizen, it's no longer a video game, okay? Now it's just a midlife crisis.
It is a midlife crisis where people spend way too much money on things that they are not financially capable of doing so.
I mean, look, here's half the problem, okay?
Okay.
The kind of like lead man, I don't remember his freaking name, and I don't really care at this point. A lot of people believed that he was basically the Elon Musk of gaming, right?
It did kind of feel like that at the time, yeah.
Yep. So they really thought that like he was going to deliver the thing that everybody wanted, right? Which is a massive open world space game with crazy graphics, and it basically EVE Online.
The space opera.
Yeah, right? Yeah. They wanted EVE Online with like World of Warcraft style gameplay, right? Not necessarily tab target, but like almost like Counter-Strike gameplay would be more accurate, right? Or even fair. Like Call of Duty Warfare.
Like a little bit more robust version of what is it, Elite Dangerous type thing?
Yeah, exactly. Because Elite Dangerous is basically entirely stuck on the ships, right?
They've started adding ground stuff over the years.
Yeah, a little bit. In fact, God, what was that game that we played? It was just a co-op game.
Jump Space?
Yeah. They basically wanted Jump Space MMO.
High fidelity
MMO, yes.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he's somewhat delivered, but at the end of the day, similar to the way that No Man's Sky was, it was dead, right? Mm-hmm. It still is. Yes, there are absolutely players out there, but it's a dead game.
And one of the main differences that I alluded to earlier is the fact that you can literally spend like $40,000 on a ship. Like there's a lot of pay to win mechanics with the ships that are artificially rare and all that kind of jazz. And most all of them cost money. Even if you got stuff in code releases for any sort of promotion or purchases, those also expire.
Yep.
Like, I know I just saw a news article about a round of codes and ships expiring. So all of it is geared towards forcing people to spend more money too, which for me is another knock against it. Now, I know I'm sounding like a hater, but I was at one point really excited for this game.
Same.
Even if I wasn't looking forward, even if I lost a lot of interest in doing any of the, multiplayer stuff, there was Squadron 41 single player.
42. Yeah.
42, Squadron 42, where I was like, okay, well, at least a really cool cinematic space opera single player game. I can at least enjoy that, even if I don't want to get into the crazy money for the ships.
They got wildly sued over that.
Yes, they did. And it has not gone well for them over the last 48 hours. Because they had a live stream. With social media being flooded with criticisms, as various people talking about it on August 17th, when developers played a private build on stream that, quote-unquote, still ended in disaster. Streamers and viewers witnessed nearly 2 hours of bugs, desync, weapon reload issues, and the complete inability to finish the game's content on their own stream.
Love that.
The tone amongst the whole video, which is why I made the hostage joke earlier, was highly tense as the community reacted to the stream with a lot of cringe and some slightly sinister feeling at the times, as you could tell that developers were getting frustrated. They were actively trying to show the game working properly, but instead displayed a fundamentally broken game featuring technical problems that people have been reporting for years. So weird. It's not even new stuff. It's stuff that people have been complaining about all the time. So hold on. Okay, so the frustrating thing about this whole thing is it also culminated in the developers going back and forth at each other, which is where the vibes came from. Before the broadcast was suddenly cut short with the blunt phrase, "It's your show, wrap it up." Somebody in trouble.
Yep.
Look, how do you prepare a live stream to show off your game? And you have to know your game has these bugs, right? I don't care. Well, I do care, but for the sake of a demonstration, I don't think you need to care about bugs, because I think most of the time for demonstrations, you're showing off a curated section of the game.
Vertical slice.
So how do you not make that slice of the game you're showing mostly bug-free?
Yeah, the term in that in the scene is a vertical slice, right? Mm-hmm. You have perfected this vertical slice, whether it be temporary code, whether it be a bunch of tech debt that you need to deal with later. You have made it to where it will work, guaranteed, right?
Oftentimes they're even pre-recorded, and then you just talk over the stream about it.
100%. Absolutely are. But I think the problem is that they aren't making a game. They're making a crypto scam, right? Like they're making a crypto coin chain that makes money and then is just going to have the rug pulled out from under you, right? And I know a lot of people equate Ashes of Creation to the exact same thing, but the difference is that actually was a game. There were very few bugs in that game.
Yeah, you're not
Whereas Star Citizen has been broken since its original early access release and remains broken to this day.
Even with their over $1 billion in funding?
Yes, because that funding isn't going into QA. It's going into making new ships that they can sell for more money.
There's no way they have $1 billion worth of development on ships. I just
they absolutely do. You're right. Sorry. There's $900 million in the head guy's pocket, and the other $100 million is in development.
Okay, I can agree to that, because I will point out that I feel like we have seen potentially $900 million worth of development cost in GTA, and from the leaks I saw, looks pretty decent, and that's even 20 months old. I don't think the ships that have been put into Star Citizen equal the development and build time that has been put into GTA.
No, people will have to actually be working on the game for it to matter. Right? Like, I think at this point, if you were given 14 years, you could have put 5 developers in the basement and had this done.
What's the old thing? Lock 5 monkeys into a room with typewriters, and given an infinite amount of time, they'll make Shakespeare or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. That's my point. Is like,
so what you're saying is lock 5 code monkeys into a room and give them $1 billion, and they'll have this game made.
Yeah, throw in an artist for fun. Not gonna say which kind of fun, but fun.
Draw them bigger. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, this did happen kind of towards the start of August. They were attempting to show off a PvE co-op mission called Siege of Horizon is how I'm going to pronounce this.
Sure.
To avoid known server instancing issues on the public test side, the team deliberately played on a dedicated internal PC build at the company HQ. And despite the ideal environment, the game suffered cascading mechanical failures. During the 90-minute stream, developers couldn't swap weapons, they lost inventory items, suffered UI overlaps, and couldn't use their medical tools to revive downed teammates. After a full team wipe, the room fell completely silent. Content director Jared Huckabee eventually walked over to Ollie, the developer running the stream, and delivered the line, "It's your show, wrap it up."
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, this is some major stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, are these the only 2 developers who are actually working on this game?
Well, one of them looks like they're managing, and the other one looks like they may be working on it.
Oh, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
And everybody
so one
knows.
of them's useless, and it's not the dev.
To be fair, I am not familiar with these 2 people with any sort of degree. However, it is very funny.
I highly doubt that anybody who has worked on that game or who has been working on that game ever is still there from the original time.
And hey, if you happen to be listening to this and you were working there at the original time, or you have left and you know things originally, if you want to drop us a line and give us some information, I'd love to chat about it. I promise anonymity, because this seems like there's so many good stories here.
If you even want to be interviewed, bro, we'll do it. That'd be fun.
On board. Oh my goodness, dude. There has to be so many good things to discuss about it.
Oh yeah,
it'd be hilarious.
Absolutely. Obviously, like, you can voice disguise, you can have a blacked out camera. I don't care. But
well, to be fair, we don't have
the
video at the moment, so it would just be amongst ourselves. But it could
That's
still be
true.
blacked out.
Yeah, we don't have to see who you are. I don't care. The only thing I need is proof that you worked there at some point.
I just want proof that you worked there, and I want to know some of the stories. There have to be some good ones.
There's got to be some juicy
seems
things.
Like chaos.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Anyways, at some point, just a few more things. At some point, one of the developers actually told a teammate to unalive himself.
Oh my!
By an awkward
God.
moment of silence before hastily clarifying in game.
Oh my Lord! These are people who should not be on a live stream. At least not like a professional one that's like talking about a $1 billion company. Like, it's
all
one
you
thing
have to do is say, like, bro, we can't get back to you, just kill yourself. You know, like, any other line other than just the flat, bro, unalive yourself. Like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we say KYS, KMS all the time in my guild. And yeah, there are plenty of us who stream. But, like, we've all been raiding together for years.
Yeah,
right?
It's also not during a live stream showing off your product, which has been a disaster throughout. And now you've gotten to this point. So,
oh man,
yeah.
Uber cringe.
To Cloud Empyrean Games' credit, they have not deleted the broadcast. It is still up and available. So I do have to give them brownie points for owning it and not trying to wipe the internet of it, which they would never be able to do in the first place. But there are plenty of companies that try, so they're
all
at least
news
been like, it is what it is.
Good news.
At one point, a Reddit post for the live stream got a huge amount of upvotes as it was titled "The Most Honest Look at Star Citizen in Months."
Oh man, that's probably so accurate.
Oh
man.
So
all right. We could go on for absolutely hours on these guys.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I do hope that the game turns around at some point, because I've always wanted to really get into it, but doesn't really seem like it's gonna happen. So I guess we're all just gonna have to move on with our lives.
Yep, I don't know. I'm sure that somebody can probably come up with a better game at some point and probably knock it out in like 3 years.
I mean, potentially.
Right?
We'll see. I mean, but to be fair, Bethesda tried to do a space game and that didn't go over well either.
That's entirely fair. All right, space games are hard. That is the story.
Alrighty, people, pack those bags. That's all we have time for this day. And just keep in mind that if you want the next GTA game set in space, it's going to require $2 billion and probably take 25 years to make. So,
minimum.
If it's any indication on all of these development times, that's what we're looking at. But I do want to get out of my ship in a spacesuit, drift across the void, and punch open the cockpit window and pull the pilot out. Still his spaceship.
Perfect. Yes. Absolutely.
All right. We look forward to your participation next time. Peace.
There you go.